check when Nicole gets back, Isaac, as to how long this webinar is going to be. It's scheduled for 2 hours. I don't know that we'll go the full 2 hours, probably about an hour, maybe a little bit over, I'm thinking, Nicole, maybe an hour 15.
Yes, this presentation is similar to the one that was given at our conference at La Fonda this week, yesterday. So it's going to last approximately an hour. We will be responding to the Q&A questions after the webinar. So we won't be responding now because we're monitoring the webinar. And from there, we will be putting out a FAQ, frequently asked questions, so that we can provide that to our members on our website. We are also going to be posting this webinar on our website. I will start, it's currently being recorded. So we will make that available on our new website at nmrealtor.com, with your login being your NRDS number and the password being your last name, all lowercase. So please look forward to that. Other than that, we look forward to all your questions and this presentation by SkySlope.
All right, perfect. And I see you're eager with a lot of questions already. I'm going to address a lot of these throughout the session today. I'll go ahead and share out my screen in just a moment. But just know that I am familiar with a lot of questions that come in about our product. So I'll go ahead and try to fit in as many questions that you're probably going to hit me with. So please maybe just write down your questions. And then if I don't answer it, then you can go ahead and post it. Okay. So I'll go ahead and share out my screen here. Now, I do see a good question that came in is, are we switching from transaction desk? So just to answer that, so as of March 31st, it's now going to switch over to SkySlope forms. Okay, so March 31st is the date where it'll be switching over from transaction desk to SkySlope forms. So let me go ahead and share out my screen. And Nicole, it looks like I need host sharing permissions real quick. And while we're doing that, I'll just go ahead and look through a couple more questions. Oh, Patricia's question was, why are we switching from transaction desk? So when Nicole gets back, I'll go ahead and have her address that. Again, a few people have asked who have just joined in, how long is this webinar? So it's going to be about an hour, hour 15, maybe a little bit over that. Just depending on how many questions we have. And as Nicole mentioned, since we know a lot of questions are coming in, we'll answer as many as we can today, but they're also going to be posting an FAQ on your site. All right, so I just need host sharing permit. Oh, you did it. See, she's a magician behind the scenes here.
Yeah, and just to answer really quickly, that what we went through a process in evaluating our form providers. The executive committee created a task force that consisted of brokers, qualifying brokers, managing brokers, transaction coordinators. We sent out an RFP to multiple form providers. We received feedback from those providers, and based on the responses to the RFP and the negotiations that the task force moved forward with, we selected SkySlope as our form provider. We realized that there are already members that are using SkySlope as part of their compliance efforts with their transactions. But there were multiple reasons why we made the switch. One of them was the ease and use of this platform, the ability to upload forms in a faster method. So as we all experienced with the recent ORR forms, it took Transaction Desk over 6 weeks to get those uploaded. This SkySlope has been contractually obligated to lessen that significantly. So I think we're less than 10 days on that, so that you'll be able to access your forms a lot faster. They also are providing 24/7 customer support to our members, and that customer support is located here in the United States. Many of you may have experienced the challenges that we've had with transaction desk and their customer support. As members, you'll call in and get tier one, and 90% of the time they tell you to call the association, and then we end up communicating with them, and it just kind of delays the process in getting you as members solutions to the challenges that you're having. So there are other reasons that go into this, but if you have any more questions, once again, please use the Q&A, and we will, as I said, be putting together a frequently asked questions and posting that onto our website. I do recommend, before we move on, that everybody has accepted our email address as a contact, and that email address is nmar@nmrealtor.com. That is our main method of communication to our members. So you'll be getting updates, you'll be getting training videos, and all the information not only related to our forum providers, but what's going on with the association at the state level. So if you don't get an email, please search your email box. It may be going into your spam. Accept us as a contact, and we will continue to provide you with updates as we move forward. So we're excited to have so many people on board. Once again, we will be posting this video on our website along with the FAQs. So please share your thoughts with us. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So I am sharing out here. Welcome everybody to the SkySlope Forms NMAR Member Benefit Overview. My name's Sati Levitt, Head of Learning and Development here at SkySlope. I'm very excited to be here with you today to share the SkySlope Forms product. Today's agenda will start with just jumping into SkySlope products, so a little bit about our products and what's included as part of that NMAR member benefit. We'll talk about the launch plan, so a little bit of TBD here coming very soon. And then we'll jump right into SkySlope Forms Basics, so the majority of the overview today will actually be in the product. So quickly talking about SkySlope products, as part of the NMAR member benefit, they're offering SkySlope Forms and DigiSign, so a full service forms platform for you to access all of those NMAR forms. In addition, there's an integrated DigiSign tool that's included with SkySlope Forms so that you can easily send out forms for signature, and you can send out forms for signature that are part of the forms library, or you can upload forms from your computer. You'll notice we also have a transaction management platform. Some of you may already use SkySlope. So if your managing broker is signed on with SkySlope Transaction Management, then you're already fully aware of that product. But also, if you're a managing broker on this call today, you may be interested in learning more about SkySlope as a transaction management system. And just know that there is a 20% discount available to NMAR members. And that's basically that all-in-one transaction management platform, and it is integrated with SkySlope Forms. All of the products, no matter which one you use, you have availability to our SkySlope support team, and they're actually award-winning, and for a reason. Number one, you get to talk to a live person out of Sacramento, California, more than likely sitting right in our office at our headquarters in Sacramento downtown. And they're available 24/7. So no chatting with the bot, right? You're talking to a live person that's trained in both real estate and SkySlope products. And if that wasn't already pretty exciting for you, check out the response times right over here. If you call us, there's a second ring pickup My personal favorite is this 10-second chat response. You heard me right, 10 seconds. And that's my personal favorite because instant gratification, right? You need help and you need it quick, especially in real estate. And then a 20-minute email reply. Maybe it's not as urgent or you have a list of questions. You can go ahead and email a support contact. So don't forget about support. I always recommend if you're staring at the screen, it's been a minute, you don't know what to do, you forgot what happened in the training, then please reach out to our support team. Our launch plan, there's a little bit TBD. So first off, there's going to be a FAQ page, as Nicole mentioned. So I know you have a lot of questions about functionality, what's included. And so some of those questions I'll answer today, but there'll be a FAQ page detailing everything out. In addition, there's a few things that are still to be determined. So our launch date, we're busy mapping and coding all of your forms. We're going to have a launch date very soon for you. And so look for information coming from NMAR, from your team there. And then also with that, with our launch date, we're going to go ahead and provide live Zoom training sessions. So as soon as we have some forms available to demo within live training, we'll go ahead and schedule probably about 8 sessions, maybe more. In addition, we have a ton of training resources on our website. We have a support page and a learning page, and we're going to build out an NMAR specific learning page as well. So you can just go there and see all of your resources specific to all of the NMAR members. All right, so I'll go ahead and show you those in the demo side of things. So if I hop on over, and actually before I jump into forms, you can actually access all of our resources by going right to support.skyslope.com. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the chat. So support.skyslope.com. And then we also have from the support page, you can access the training offerings here. It's going to link you to learn.skyslope.com. So I'm going to go through both of these for you today. And if you have a question, please just drop it in the Q&A. So let's just talk about the difference real quickly between support page and the learning page. So number one, the support page is where you'll see more so tutorials, so short 2-minute videos that are going to give you a highlight of what the product does, and not real deep dive into the product, but really showing you most of the functionality. So you'll notice under SkySlope Forms, I have using SkySlope Forms, using form templates, or file sharing in SkySlope Forms. So under using SkySlope Forms, look at all of these options here. So we have a ton of quick little tutorials. You just want to find out how to fill a form, how to create a forms file, a printable handbooks available for you. Basically anything you want to learn about SkySlope Forms. We have nice bite-sized chunks of information here. There's a helicopter going really close to my house. Hopefully it's not causing too much of a disturbance here since I have my headset on. So tutorials available for you. And then we also have training on our learning page. So you can access that right from this page here. You can click on explore your training offerings. And then it has a link to learn.skyslope.com available. But one more thing back on the support page, you will notice that this chat option. And that again, 10 seconds, click on chat, enter 3 pieces of information within 10 seconds, you're gonna have a response from our support team and they're gonna go ahead and reach out to you. Remember, it's not a bot, it's a real live person, okay? So I'm sure everybody's a little bit happy about that one. All right, on the learning page, you will notice that we have our SkySlope Academy here. Again, we'll be building out a specific one for all of you members, and that link will be provided in the training session. When we do those live training sessions. So this is kind of a sneak peek, early view of SkySlope Forms. And you'll notice we have on your time trainings. What those are basically pre-recorded trainings, but they have interactions like polls and quizzes. And then they also have live chat support. We have 6 sessions a day, 5 days a week, and you'll notice it's by product. So there's SkySlope Transaction Management, SkySlope Forms, and you can just click on View Schedule. and then go ahead and take any of these trainings. So if you need a little refresher or you can't attend a live training, we'll have those available. We have master classes, which are quick 15-minute live sessions highlighting certain features or updates within our products. And then we have certification courses. So certification courses are just like the on your time trainings. It's the same content, but it's a different learning style. So think of the on your time trainings of like you have to sit there in one session, maybe watch 30 minutes to 60 minutes, and but you have that live chat support. Certifications are you can basically enroll and then you can leave and come back. So very much like a LinkedIn style learning. And in addition, you get a certificate at the end, and you have to pass a quiz. So we have those available for forms as well. All right. So a ton of resources. You can also just browse by product. So you can go to SkySlope Forms and just see the specific trainings available for forms. Okay. So lots of good stuff out here. I'm going to close out of here and log over to Forms. Now I know for Forms or for a transaction desk, whatever your current platform is, you currently access it via your MLS. So as we move through this transition, we are certainly working with your MLSs along with NMAR to provide that same login experience. So you can just click on a link and be taken right into your provider. So your Forms provider. So that is currently in process. By the time we launch, it may not be available. And if that's the case, and again, we're going to have live training sessions to go through all of the details, give you a handout with instructions on how to access SkySlope Forms. But I'm just going to show you today, if you're brand new and you've never used a SkySlope Forms product, you can simply enter your email address and create a password. I would just do the same exact thing that you use to log into NMAR, and then into your first and last name and click next. Any existing SkySlope customers? I know I saw somebody in the Q&A earlier. A few people said they're already. I have a few people just raised their hand. So if you're an existing SkySlope transaction management customer, up in the top right, I'll show you in just a moment, you can click on apps and toggle over to SkySlope Forms. When you first log in, either somebody that's existing SkySlope customer, or if you just created an account, you'll be prompted to enter your state. Now, as I said, we're hard at work mapping and coding your forms, so you'll notice that we don't actually have your forms added yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and pretend like we're in the beautiful state of Oregon today. Although I just absolutely love New Mexico. I just was there yesterday and I was somewhere around here. And it's actually absolutely gorgeous. I wish I was still there. So from here, you'll be shown the available forms for that particular state, and you can go ahead and add the NMAR, and you'll be prompted to enter your NERDS ID, and just to validate that you have an active membership with NMAR. Easy peasy. So from here, we always include tooltips. So these little quick videos, notice there's a 1-minute video that's a quick tutorial about SkySlope Forms. So if I want that refresher, I definitely recommend watching those. They don't come back, so you only get one shot at them. Also, we will add those in if you've been using our product for a while and there's a change or enhancement, we'll go ahead and include those. So I definitely would, it takes like 30 seconds to just watch it real quick and see what's changed. From here, I'm logged into SkySlope Forms. This is really simple. We designed this to be as simple to use to make it easy to learn. You'll notice you have files, you have templates, all of your active files will show here once you have some. I have this because I haven't created any yet. And then you have your username drop down in the top right. So your username drop down is always where you want to go in order to set up your user profile. So the first time you log in, go to your user profile. You don't want to forget that, okay? And then you'll go ahead and add your personal information. Why do you think we care about personal information here? And your managing brokerage information. Any guesses? If you're thinking this information will auto-populate within your form, you're absolutely correct. So you want to make sure you add that under your profile and save it, because then that information is automatically going to flow into your forms, so you don't have to type it again and again and again. Okay, so log in, set up your user profile. Otherwise, you're going to be reaching out to support and saying, why isn't my info pulling in? Sati said it would. So definitely set that up. Okay. Any questions we want to address, Nicole, before moving forward?
I think we're good for now.
Okay, perfect. And once again, in regards to those MLSs, you're used to that single sign-on experience. We are working with those companies to create that same login experience. Well, more to come on that on the FAQ page and in our live training sessions as part of your launch, okay? So from here, you'll notice I have the help icon. So I showed you how to go to support.skyslope.com, right? So you can go right to that particular URL. I recommend saving that and the learning page on your browser, your favorite browser, just so you can save it, bookmark it, so you have it easily accessible in case you need help and you're not logged into our products. But if you are logged into any of SkySlope products, there's always going to be a help option where you can click on support. Notice it opened up a new tab, took me right to support.skyslope.com. Does anybody remember where I can find help? The bottom right here, right? So that chat button, okay? From here, you can also go to the help documentation, but really files, templates, and browse libraries is what we're talking about. So within these three here, you'll notice first files, that's when I'm working with a specific customer and I want to send them out forms for signature. Templates, you're already used to those, I'm sure, with your existing products. That's what I can create to apply to files where I'm going to have certain forms grouped together within a template. And also I can pre-populate fields and text in those templates. And then when I apply it to my file, it's all there. Good question came in yesterday. Well, what happens if a form gets outdated in a template? And we will actually, if you apply that template and there's an outdated form within that template, how we handle that is if you apply that template to a forms file, it's going to go ahead and alert you. There's a newer version of this form available. Would you like to use it? You can ignore it, or you can say, yes, I want to pull in that newer form. The reason why we allow you to ignore it and use the older version is perhaps you have an older transaction that needs that older form, right? So just depending on how it works with your association. But once you're ready to update that form within your template, you can simply go into the template and click edit. And I can show you in just a moment. And then it'll just have a little refresh button where you can go through and refresh any outdated forms. And now that template will be updated for future use. So solving a pain point for you there, I think, with your existing provider. In addition, we have browse libraries. Browse libraries allows you to view your forms without actually having to create a forms file. So let's say you need to go ahead and download or print some forms and you don't need to create a forms file. Well, then you can go ahead and go through and find the particular forms. Once you click plus, you'll notice this little option comes up here in the bottom right, and you can continue to add. It shows you how many forms you've added. And then if you click on the arrow here, it'll show you all of those forms. You can delete any that aren't needed. And then you'll notice you can print or download those forms. So if you just need to print blank copies of those forms, this is where you can do it. One of the places. You can also do it within forms files, which I'll show you. You can also go ahead and view them and then print or download from here just to make sure that they're the right forms. Okay, so you can browse the libraries without creating a forms file. For templates, very simple. I'm just simply going to click create template. And let's say I've been working with a lot of sellers, so I want to have all those forms ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and click seller, and let's just say it's a listing template. I'm going to name my template, and then I'm going to be shown all of the forms available here. So then I can go ahead, I can search for my form if I would like. Okay, I can go ahead and add. I can also just scroll through the list of forms. So if I just want to scroll through here, that's available as well. As I'm scrolling through, if I want to look at that form before I add it to my template, I can click on the name and view that form. This is the second place where you can print or download a blank version of the form. So within the forms file, or you can simply click add. So I've added a couple forms already. I'm also going to add I think it's the seller's disclosure, the property disclosure, because I have great news for you. I'm not sure how you currently prepare your disclosure statement, so the property disclosure that you have there in New Mexico, but in SkySlope forms, we're going to have that all mapped and coded for you. So all of those check boxes anywhere where the seller needs to check, it's already pre-mapped and coded and ready for them, which is really exciting. Right, perfect. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and click continue. All right. And then I'm taken into these forms. If I realized, shoot, I forgot a form, I can click add forms and it'll go back to my forms library. If I want to upload a document from my computer, so let me go ahead and actually pull one up here that I can use today so I can demo what it looks like. Some of you may upload your own forms, right? Or have your own broker form, something like that. So let me just pull one up that I can use today to show you the additional tools within DigiSign and MAR. So let's just do this form here. Oops. Okay, so you can either drag or drop when you upload documents. So you'll notice I can upload documents by clicking on this to go to my file, or if I have a file sitting here, I can just drag it. It does have to be PDF. Okay, no Word documents at this time. We're working on potentially Word in the future. So once I drag it over, I can upload another, say done. And so now I have all 4 of these forms. If I want to change the order of these forms, I can left click and hold on these lines to change the order. If I need to remove a form, I can do so by clicking the minus button. And then I'm just going through and filling information that is typically going to be the same from client to client, right? I'm not going to put information that is going to change, right? So anything that's typically the same, I like to use the 80/20 rule here. Then you can go ahead and just enter all of that information. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Now you already know how to fill out forms. These aren't even your forms. So I'm just going to go ahead and check a couple items here and pretend like these are all items that are typically the same from seller to seller. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to save template. Now, I have a question for you, and you don't need to answer it in the Q&A, but am I going to type my brokerage information or my name or my license number, any of that information in my template, or are files always looking to my user profile? Just want you to think about that for a moment as I save that template. And the answer is you're not going to put it in the template because the files always look to your user profile. So don't even put it in the template. Save yourself some time. Now I've created this template I can use again and again and again. I can edit templates, add forms, remove forms, duplicate, and so on. And so again, if this form does have outdated form or this template has outdated forms, I could come in here and edit. I'll get a little notice at the top of the outdated form that I can click refresh and refresh that form within the template. Okay. All right, so moving on here, see if there's any questions that we need to address real quick. So we do have a file sharing, so more to come in regards to Teams access and all of that setup, more to come in our live training sessions, our actual launch training sessions. So any questions that you have about file sharing access and all of that, there's definitely more coming on that, okay? And then, so I see a ton of questions about sharing in here. So that's the answer for all of you that typed that. We do not have a ability to watermark forms at this time, but I'm going to go ahead and notate all of your questions. And one other thing to note before I move on to files is we want to hear your feedback in terms of enhancements. So anytime you have an enhancement request, as even after launch date, if it's 6 months down the line, definitely let us know. Just reach out to our support team and they'll log it all and escalate it to our product team. And our product team actually looks at that list. And if it's already an enhancement request that we have, they'll put another vote for that. And then when they go review what is coming for the year, what they're going to work on, they actually look at those and see how many requests we've had and prioritize our request based off of those enhancement requests. And also, our CEO, Tyler Smith, looks at all of those enhancement requests as well. So definitely don't stay quiet. Let us know. Okay. From here, you'll notice we have files. So again, creating files is what I'm going to do when I'm working with a particular customer. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm representing a seller here. If it is a trust or entity, you can check the box and enter the information that way. But let's just say I have an individual seller here. And I'm going to enter their email address. If your sellers have the same email address, 2 sellers, that you can type it in twice, no problem. They're just going to get 2 separate emails to their inbox, each one then needing to sign their own form. Typically, I then get a question, well, what if Sam signs for Sally? Well, that's fraud, just like if they forged a signature, okay? And we can track it down to the time, IP address, and all of that. But you can enter the same email address twice. I'm just going to move forward with the one seller today, and then it's going to ask me if I have a property yet. Now, we will be connected to your MLS. I'm not sure of the exact date, where you'll be able to type in the MLS number and then actually populate that date. So if you're writing an offer, you'll be able to type that information out. It'll pull all that info in and auto-populate within your forms file, definitely saving you some time. For today, I'm going to manually type out this address. Let's say I'm a listing agent and I actually haven't I have not listed this property on the MLS yet. So I'm going to go ahead and start typing. As I start typing, it's going to search for the property, and then I can select. Remember, we're pretending to be in Oregon. I don't know if anybody's been to Astoria, Oregon, one of my favorite places. And so I'll go ahead and select that property. It's going to name the file by default to the address. You can override it and change it to client, or you can just say Astoria property, whatever you want to call it, but we'll do address today. Would you like to start with one of your templates? Thank you, SkySlope. I'd love to save some time today. I'm going to go ahead and select that template and click create, which is now going to give me some tooltips here. And then now I'm working within this forms file. So again, I just want to show you what we've done here. So we've created a template we can use again and again and again. We've pre-populated fields within this template. So when I apply it to a forms file, all those forms will automatically drop in and any fields within those forms are pre-populated. Okay, I've now created a file. So it's sitting here on my dashboard. There's the file name, what type of representation, what forms I've added, and how many envelopes have been sent out on it. You'll notice that I can search for files once I have a full list, and I can also archive files. So we never delete files completely in SkySlope. You just move them over to archives and ignore them. If they are in archives and you actually need to bring it back, so you're relisting a property that didn't sold, you can just restore it now and it's taken back to the all files. So it went away just because now I have 0, but once you have, more than one archive file, then there'll be a tab here you can click on. There's also no limit on the amount of files you can have in SkySlope forms or archives. We don't delete them after a year or anything like that. Okay. And definitely, I saw a few questions come in just real quick before we move forward in files. We don't want you logging into SkySlope forms yet. This is a very early access overview, kind of just a teaser virtual event because the conference was yesterday. So we just wanted to share a little bit about what's to come. But once the launch date for your forms is available, we'll go ahead and have some training surrounding that. So right after the training, you can go ahead and log in and create a test file or go ahead and get started with one of your active listings. Okay. So from here, every time I want to check the status of forms or send out forms for signature, I'm always going to log into SkySlope Forms, go to this file. I have 3 tabs here: forms, envelopes, and file details. Forms is just where I'll see any forms that already were added to the file. I can add additional forms from a forms library. I can upload documents from my computer, just like I could within the template, and I can apply multiple templates. Envelopes are forms that have been sent out for signature, or draft envelopes that I'm waiting to send out for signature or I haven't completed. And file details is just where you see the basic details of your file and all of your contacts. And this is where you go if you need to update your client's email address, or maybe you get a surprise on that title report and realize that there's actually 2 people on title or somebody else entirely in a trust. So you can go ahead and edit your seller here. Also, if you want to add your TC so that your TC or an attorney always receives a copy of those documents, you can go ahead and say receives a copy and add your TC here along with their email address. And then when the forms are signed, they'll automatically receive a copy of the forms. This is different than Teams access. So again, more information in the full live launch training coming about Teams access. All right, so from here within forms, if I want to add additional forms, I'll just click add forms. I'll be taken back to that library. Upload documents will show me that same option there, but I'm going to select these 4 forms here. Actually, I'll leave this one out real quick. I'll select these 3 and then click fill and send. This is the 3rd place where I can print or download forms. Okay. and it would be print or download with anything that was already populated within those forms because I pulled them from the template. I'm going to click fill and send. Now I'm filling out these forms specific to this relationship with Sam Seller. You'll notice I have the second opportunity to import MLS data here, so you can do it upon file creation and once you're filling out forms. I can change the order of these forms, I can delete forms, and I can add forms. So if I click add forms, I can go ahead and pull from the file. So if there are any forms I didn't pull in, like that seller property disclosure statement, I can go ahead and add it. And I can add forms from the forms library. So I can go back to that forms library and pull in an additional form. And then lastly, I can upload a form from my computer. Okay, so just giving you a lot of flexibility here. Now, I'm not going to go through all of filling out these forms today since you already know how to fill out your particular forms, right? But just know that if anything did pull in from the template and it's different for this particular transaction, you can always change it. And really, you're just looking for these blue fillable fields throughout the file here to fill out information or throughout the form. A couple things to note, if you do click on one of the fields that are in the file details, you can go ahead and edit it here. So let me click on the very top here, find one of those. Let's see. Well, the property address would be one. So like this contact, if I click here, it's going to actually show me that contact. And if I updated something here, and save it, it's actually saving it in my file details. So like if you have like right here for my seller, maybe it's actually Samuel. And I need to have a middle initial, and maybe Sam's actually married. And so I can add another contact in those file details where I added the TC just a few minutes ago, it'll flow back there. Okay. And now it's updated in this form and my forms file. All right, from here, let's say I filled these out halfway and then I get a call to go show a property, which takes priority of setting this form out. I can go ahead and click save and exit, which will allow me to name the envelope, which I highly recommend you always name envelopes. This is going to allow you to differentiate between each item within your envelopes tab. So let's say this is the listing packet. And then I'll save and exit. And now my envelopes tab, it has this file here, or this envelope sitting in draft status. So if I leave, come back to SkySlope Forms, go back to this forms file, I'm going to go to the envelopes tab. It's going to be sitting there waiting for me in that nice draft status. I can just click on it and it takes me right where I left off. All right, Nicole, any questions? And I know we're probably not going to be able to answer all your questions today. We'll answer some towards the end, and then any we're not able to get to, we will go ahead and email you a response. Right, Nicole?
Correct.
Okay, anything in particular we want to address now? I see a couple people saying looks great, awesome, can't wait to try it.
Yep, I think we would like to answer most of the questions in a FAQ so that we can
Perfect.
share it with all of the members.
Okay, awesome, perfect. Yeah, because they're all valid questions. So we'll go ahead and go through, create the answers, and then get you that FAQ. All right, and somebody asked, what are envelopes or envelopes? So those are basically forms that you prepare to send out for signature. So here I have my draft envelope here waiting for me to send out. So it's a group of selected forms that have been added to an envelope, which I can then send out for signature. Okay, so from here, I can go ahead and click prepare signature, and notice I'm in SkySlope Forms. When I click prepare signature, it's going to give me the opportunity again to name it. I already named it when I put it in that draft status, and then it allows me to take an action for each party that's listed. So why I added my TC up front is so I don't have to add it every time. So I added it under my file details so that Angie's always going to pull through to default to receive a copy. So anybody that needs to sign, you would add under file details. Anybody that needs to receive a copy, so that way it just automatically populates for every envelope. If I don't want Angie to receive this one, I can go ahead and change this to no action. Okay. And maybe I know I need to sign, so definitely you want to say needs to sign. And if that's the default you want it to pull in, then you can go ahead and change that in your user profile as well, or sorry, your file details. From here, I'm going to click next. Notice what happens in the top left here. Instead of SkySlope Forms, I'm now in DigiSign, okay? And DigiSign is now where I can go ahead and add signatures. So we'll go through all of these options in DigiSign today. Notice I got this tooltip letting me know that I can now strike through in red. I can also diagonal, put an X, and so on. Now, we did get some feedback yesterday letting us know that you like that blurring option. So I've already brought this up to our DigiSign team, and we'll be gathering some more information about that request, okay? So from here within DigiSign, you'll notice I have color coding between my two sellers. They're both blue, but we have aqua, red, orange, a bunch of different colors here. These two are two blue colors, and this allows me to know as I click signature, whose signature I'm adding, okay? So that allows me to know who I'm working on there. We have some changes coming really soon, just FYI, and how you add signatures, where right now you click here and then here and you keep going up. We're going to be changing that to make it a little bit quicker, but it's quite easy. I'll show you how to do it. But before I show all the functionality within DigiSign, it's important to note that any form that you pull from the NMAR library is already mapped and coded for you. So you're not going to have to be entering initials, and even, let me get to this seller property disclosure. So even this seller property disclosure, all mapped and coded. So again, this isn't yours, but we're going to be doing a similar thing. So any of those disclosures that have a ton of check boxes, signatures, text fields where the seller needs to provide responses, we have done all that hard work for you. So you can simply just click send. Okay. Now, that being said, you may have a form or two that you upload from your computer. If you do so, then you will definitely take advantage of these. So let me get to my home warranty form I had uploaded here. So right here, I had uploaded this form, and maybe I want to go ahead and add spots where they can check these boxes and sign. So all these tools are available: signature, initials, full name. So maybe I want to put their full name above here, signature, boom. I can resize it as well. Maybe I want them to initial each page also at the top and the left here. Boom, I can go ahead and initial. And actually notice I'm actually on myself, so that's probably not what I want to do. So if I want to delete any of this, I can just click on each one, or I can actually just, oops, I can actually just drag over this and just press delete. So notice my editing block becomes available. So you can always just highlight items and then just press delete on your keyboard or delete to the left. Okay, and so I actually want to be on Samuel here. So I'm going to go ahead and add Samuel's name up here and his signature and his date. Or if I want the date and time, I can click time, and then that'll give me the date and time. The check boxes are pretty cool. So you can go ahead and click plus, add a checkbox. I can add a second checkbox. I can then drag this over here. Okay, let me double click. And so you can pre-check them if you want to go ahead and check them. And then when you're working on check boxes, so notice I double clicked and I could move it. So maybe I only want them to choose one of these. So I can say at least one, or at most one, or exactly one. Okay, so least would require them to check at least that many. At most makes it optional, and then exactly forces them now to check one or more, depending on what you allow there. Okay, so now I've said, hey, out of these two, they have to check at least one. Okay, boom. So check boxes, I love that feature. You also have text fields. So if you want to go ahead and add the text field here, you can do so. You can make this optional or required. So if you want to make sure they view it, uncheck that optional, because it always defaults to optional. And then you can go ahead and say, please call me to discuss. Or you can go ahead and ask a question here. You can also type to the left, so the editing block is, both options are available. If you want to ask them a question and make it required, you can do so. It's just for informational purposes, and you just want it to look like it's part of the document, then you can just say read only, and then it blocks it down. Okay, and then I would uncheck. Yep, Okay, so let's just make that a question here, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, and then finally you have strike through. So you'll notice I can go ahead and strike through. Again, we're looking at the blur option, and notice you can go ahead and change it to red if you would like, or leave it as black. And then you can also adjust it. So if I click on that line there, I can get my cursor there, then I can go ahead and drag the line and adjust it. All right, so you can also edit the recipient. So I'll quickly talk about that. Under the 3 vertical dots, I can click edit recipients. This is going to show me everybody that I added to the file details, and I can go ahead and add a new recipient. So I removed Angie, right? I said no action for this one. So now I don't see Angie. But if I wanted to add somebody just on the fly that I didn't have in my file details, I could go ahead and add them here. Jane attorney maybe, but it's not going to flow back to the file details. So I recommend setting up in file details unless you're just doing a one-off person. So now I've added my Jane attorney, and then we have signing groups available. So who sometimes will send a form out to your client for signature that you have to sign, but you don't want to sign it until they do. I'm guessing a few of you do, right? So what you can do is add a signer group. You can have up to 4 signer groups. So I go ahead and add that signer group, and then I'm going to go ahead and drag my name down so I don't actually receive it until Samuel signs. Okay. I'm actually going to remove that to show another feature today. I'm going to save, and then I'm going to send this out for signature. If you want to override this, you can go ahead and put the property address. You can type a custom message and then click send for signatures. So I've now completed the DigiSign process. I talked a lot through that, right? Because I wanted to show you the features. Typically, unless you uploaded a document from your computer, you're just clicking send. You're just going in, okay, everything looks good, boom, send it out, okay? And then notice the sign now button. So if I had set up signer groups and I was signing second, I wouldn't see the sign now button, but because I left it so we can both sign the form at any time, I can go ahead and sign it. So I'm going to receive an email letting me know that I have forms for signature, but instead of going to that email, why not just sign it right away? So agree to the e-signature terms. Again, I'm still working as the broker here. I'm going to go ahead and select my signature or draw. So I can go ahead and draw or choose my style and say use this signature, and then I'm just taking through those required fields, and I'll click finish signing. So not reinventing the wheel with the signing tool. It's very easy to use. I can download the signed documents with just my signature, or just view them, or say I'm done. And then now I'm taken back to that envelopes tab, and I can see 1 of 2 people have signed. So I'm still waiting for my seller to sign. Now you might be wondering a couple things. What if I want to correct this envelope? Or what if I want to cancel it and start over? Or what if I just need to resend a reminder to my seller? Can I do that? What do you think? Probably thinking yes. Yes, I wouldn't bring it up. Well, maybe I would. So I can correct an envelope. I can resend an envelope or cancel. I'll show you resend today. So if I click resend, you'll notice here, I see the email address. I can just click send reminder, and it'll send a new email to my seller. But let's say Samuel said, hey, you know what? I actually need you to send me that to my work email. I want all forms regarding the sale coming to my work email. So you already sent this out. You can go ahead and edit this and update the email address, and then click send reminder, and then it'll send a new email to your seller. Just remember to go back to file details, right? And update that email address so that in the future, it'll always auto-populate the new email address. You can also download this form. So I can download it by clicking on this action drop down right here, the 3 vertical dots. Also, if I just click on any of these, I can go ahead and click on it, and I'll be able to see what progress has been made, who's already signed it. I can also show you that in the history, so you can go ahead and see it. And if you're going to see your client in person, you can go ahead and download or print that. And then lastly, you'll notice there's the history. So I love the history option because you can see if your client actually viewed the email yet. So you'll notice it says waiting for Samuel to sign the documents, and it shows all of my progress. It shows me who I sent it to, who was CC'd, and I can download that in a certificate. I'll quickly just hop over and show you what it looks like. It's very similar when the seller signed it, but what it looks like when it's fully completed here. So the seller is going to get an email, and FYI, it's going to show from you. shows from you as their broker. They're going to do the exact same thing I just showed you, is agree to the signature terms, select their signature, and click through all of those required fields. Shows them the progress here. Oh, I made a big mistake here. I sent this with the transaction form. So I'm not going to complete this envelope today, but I'm going to go ahead and show you. Maybe I'll send another one just to show you how quickly. I want to show you these check boxes. So see how it said select one required. So it forces them to check the box. Boom. And I will show you that disclosure. So notice it's now giving them all of the options here. So they have to go through and answer all of this. So all mapped and coded for them. Still a lot of questions on the form, but they can go ahead and fill that out all out electronically. Okay. And then they can click finish signing. So really quickly, I just want to show you one more time to send out a forms file. Just create new file. They're going to go ahead and enter their information, their seller name, their email address, their property address, right? Or use import MLS if you're writing a buyer's offer. And then they're just going to go ahead and type out the address if it's not in MLS yet. Find the property, name the file. Don't even have to apply a template. Click create, and then add any forms that you want for signature. And so then let's just say I'm going to do that listing form here and go ahead and select that. Click next to move forward. This is probably the biggest thing people miss, is you have to click on it to get this action option in the bottom left. So just click anywhere on that form. You can also hover over the name here to see the full name of that form. Fill and send. I don't need to do anything to this form, or no, I still need to fill out all of these fields, but once I've done that and clicked prepare signature, I'm going to name it my listing agreement here. Click next. It takes me into DigiSign just in case I need to add anything, but I don't. It's all mapped and coded for me. And I'm going to click send. Boom. Now my seller has an email to digitally sign. So I just want to show you again how quickly that is for your seller to actually, for you to send out forms for signature. And now your seller is just going to get an email letting them know they have documents to sign, and they'll go through and sign it. So quite simple for them. And for you, hopefully you find that it's really easy to use and intuitive. And again, we have all of those training resources available for you on support.skyslope.com and learn.skyslope.com with your own learning page coming soon. Your seller can download or view a copy of those signed documents, but both you and the seller, once it's fully signed, and anybody else that's supposed to receive a copy will receive an email letting them know it's completed, and they can go ahead and click on the link to access those documents and then download them or save them as a PDF. Back in SkySlope Forms, it's going to let you know that that envelope is completed. Again, that view history is going to show you all of the progress here. You can download that certificate. Now, the big question we got yesterday is, can I download it as a single PDF? So if you have multiple documents, you have both options. You can go ahead and download it as a single PDF or individual PDFs. Okay. So we designed SkySlope Forms to be a standalone tool that you can use with any transaction management platform. So if you want to go ahead and download this now and upload it to a different transaction management platform, you absolutely have that access. Otherwise, if you are a SkySlope customer, I just want to quickly show you how to sync your file, okay? So what you're going to do is log in with your existing credentials to SkySlope. So just like you do today. I'm going to get an Okta verification just because I'm an employee of SkySlope. You will never see this, okay? And then I'm going to be taken into skyslope.com. From here, notice I'm taken into forms. If you logged in directly to SkySlope Transaction Management, this is what our SkySlope Transaction Management tool looks like. You can create listings or transactions. So listings when you're representing a seller, transactions are either, or when you're representing a buyer. And then under manage transactions, that's where you'll see all buyer represented. I can't say that at all. My brain's got a blank there, but all buyer represented files you'll create here. But manage transactions, once you have a listing that converts to an accepted contract, you'll always find them under manage transactions. So when I create a listing here, you will notice that I can enter the listing and then I can link it to my forms file. So SkySlope transaction management customers, existing or future ones, just know that you always want to link it to your forms file to take advantage of certain information auto-populating. And also for those forms that are signed to automatically drop to your SkySlope transaction or listing. So instead of entering the address, you're always going to select forms, and then you're going to go ahead and select that particular property. After selecting the property, you'll click next to move forward. Enter your information, select the type of your listing. It looks like I already created one on that one, so let me select a different property here. And then click next question. No, I already did it for that one too. Of course I did. But then it'll go through and it'll just automatically pull in. We'll do one of Justina's files here. Well, I might have to go create a new one, but basically you'll create that listing and then all of those forms are just going to drop into your file. So making it really easy for you to upload them and attach them to your checklist. Okay, so I can do another one. You can toggle over to forms back and forth between transactions and forms. And one thing I just want to touch on for those existing SkySlope customers, let's say you had that listing agreement signed, right? And you met the seller in person and you don't have a forms file, but you're going to be using forms later to have the contract signed. So when you go to create the listing in SkySlope, you haven't created that forms file yet. For any documents. You can still create a forms file even if you are not sending any forms out. So I can go ahead and enter my information or my seller's information, their email address, and the property information, and then it's going to go ahead and allow me to quickly create that property. Let's do that one. Address, create, and now I have that forms file that I can link to my transaction or listing. So even if you don't have forms actually to send out for signature, still create that forms file, and then you can toggle over to SkySlope and create that listing. So I always bring that up because some people struggle with that workflow or just aren't aware. And then you can go ahead and enter that information. Oops, I'm going to select my forms file, boom. And click let's go, create that forms file, and then certain information will auto populate. And one nice thing is if I do send out my listing agreement from SkySlope Forms and I've already entered the commission and obviously the seller name and the property address and the listing and expiration, all of this will pull over from SkySlope Forms. So really reducing that repetitive data entry. I have a California property, so it's asking me about open escrow, and then I can create that listing. And then if there were any forms signed within that SkySlope Forms file, it'll just be sitting here in this Documents tab. Now, you're probably then wondering if your existing client, well, does it auto assign it to my checklist items for my broker or admin? You'll still need to attach it from the Documents tab, but it just saves you that time of having to upload the forms, okay? And what I recommend as soon as you have access, I'll talk about this in my launch trainings, is to create a test file and just play around with it as soon as you have access. Okay. Nicole, any questions we'd like to address?
No, I think we're good for now. Like I said, I'd like a lot of these questions. I want to make sure that the task force is available to provide the proper responses to, so that we can and also get it posted on our website and sent out via our email to all of our members. So we inform everybody with the same answers.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. So we'll download all those Q&A and your NMAR team will be hard at work getting answers for you. Well, thank you for having me, Nicole. Thank you everyone for joining in today. It was a pleasure hosting you, and I look forward to continuing to host additional training sessions and seeing you all in the future.
Yes, definitely take advantage of the training sessions that you are able to take now. Although you're not logging into SkySlope to manage transactions, you are able to take some of those one-on-one trainings along with those webinars. So it's never too late to start learning.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you. Everybody have a great
Thank you.
weekend. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.